Hey, welcome, Natalie. I am so happy to have you here. I'm so excited for everyone to get to know you and you share about you and your journey. And I love you just to start with just who you are. You're a magical being. I'll let you introduce yourself because there's so much to share.
Yay. Hi. I'm so excited to be here. I'm Natalie Holbrook. I am a business astrologer and business mentor. So my background is actually in sales and marketing and business, and I learned astrology about 7 years ago, and it changed my life. And then it just came to me of like, you have to combine and bridge these two together to bring both of my passions together. And so now I help women with all aspects of their business who are honestly in every level, whether they're a little bit seasoned or if they've been doing this for over a decade, and just help them with the use of strategy and bringing astrology and their unique blueprint in.
Amazing. And you do so well I always love seeing how you weave the two worlds together and also how you teach astrology is so different. It's not your typical way. I feel like you've found your own blueprint of, teaching astrology and bringing it through, which we will totally get into. And just to kick us off, I mean, obviously our journey together has been so fun and I feel like such a magical ride of I don't even know where to start with you.
I'm
I'm
like,
like, how do
I
I even begin to, how do we begin to describe? But I'd love you to just share like what has the journey been for you in our work together and what's evolved it for you, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, to be in all transparency, it's like I started out with working with you in your mastermind because
Hmm.
let's see, this was the end of 2024, and I was coming into this new iteration of my business. And I was like, I need help. I was actually going through imposter syndrome on like the business coaching side of things, because even though I'd worked in business and had, 16 years of sales experience, I think I actually had to go through imposter syndrome to remember what imposter syndrome felt like.
Yeah. Yes.
Because I think all coaches, like, we have to go through that to be like, oh yeah,
Yes.
this is where my clients are going to be. And I remember reaching out to you, and when we even had our first call, it was like I just felt so held by you, and I felt so seen by you, and I felt like she's got what I want, and she's going to also help me to get there. And so we started out with the mastermind, and then I very quickly realized, oh, I need one-on-one support because I like am kind of needy like that, and I just like to go fast and have you all to myself. And so we paused for a little bit and then came back into doing one-on-one in September. So I think we took, what was it, like a 5 month break or something. And then when we came
Yeah.
back in September, it was just such beautifully aligned timing, and things happened that I can't explain basically,
Yes.
because I feel like my business just quantum leaped so fast, so high. And it was because I had the right guidance. And I also personally was in the space of readiness and of the space
Hmm.
of like, let's go. I have clarity, I have direction. And you helped to propel all of that so fast. And, ended up basically making almost 100K more in my revenue in Q4 because of working with you for those last 3 months.
Amazing. It's amazing. It's so incredible. Like when I think back to when you first came in and also just the journey of it, of how much I feel like for both of us, like we had no idea also like the magnitude of how much things would grow so fast. And I've noticed for you also how much it's like when your energy is aligned, you're like, go. And then I'm like, cool, now like da 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 da. And you're like, great, got it, go. I got it. Like, and it's so that's why I love working with you. It's so fun to work with someone who's ready and who implements, and you take the feedback so well, and it doesn't hit that judgmental. It's like, oh great, I'm so happy to have the feedback and being able to move with things. And I'm curious to know for you, like, what has been obviously there's so much in the business which we can get to that you've actually really moved in. I mean, you've done so much in just a short time. What do you feel like is the biggest like shift in your identity and who you have been through this process?
Yeah, I think that I just really stepped into ownership of like being the authority. And, I think that there were some like little molehills that I had to go over, and then all of a sudden I think like right away, you and I, when we started working together, you were like, you could do these private intensives, right? And the private intensives, if people don't know listening, it was like kind of a sneaky way to enroll people into your program essentially. But it was, sharing about what I can do with people essentially in 1 week. And just
Hmm.
that, just that alone helped me to be like, oh my gosh, wait a minute. If I were to distill my work into basically one call, a few days of Telegram, and then a follow-up call, what are the results that I could get somebody? And I kind of was like, well, I don't really know, but I think I could probably really do some magic with them. And when we put it out, I saw, oh my gosh, the results that people had in this kind of like urgent yet minimal time frame that they were working with me, they also were quantum leaping. And that in itself gave me so much confidence. And I think that that was actually the beginning of this identity shift for me, because I was like, whoa, I just did that with somebody in a matter of like 5 days, basically. And so
Hmm.
what can I do with them in 3 months, in 6 months, in whatever type of container? And it really helped me to see like, wait a minute, I actually am the authority. I do really know. And I do also have resources. And if I don't have them, I'll create it really quickly. And just the testimonials and the feedback from there were 5 women who signed up for it. It sold out. It was supposed to be 4. And then one other person was like, please,
Yeah. Yeah.
and, and so that also was like, really good for me to know. But that in itself shifted me. And I think that that was kind of the beginning of this new positioning that then
Hmm.
set off the rest of the year. And, that was well, that was actually only in October. It was October, it was like
Wow.
Halloween week. And now here we are, 4 months later, basically 3 months, wait, no, 3 months later. And
Wow.
I feel like a completely different person. I honestly feel like I've been in this business for like 5 years. And it's
Hmm.
really been a little over a year that I've been doing it
Hmm.
this way.
That's amazing. I feel like you've lived 5 years just in the last 3 months.
Gosh, me too. Mama's tired,
Yeah.
but she's
It's
taking care of her.
like, yeah. We're balancing. We're balancing.
Yeah, she's very balanced. We're actually way better than we were a few months ago. So yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing. And just to like recap, just because like I feel like so much has happened for you. You launched your intensives and then you launched you've done like you've had incredible turnout rates for any event that you have launched, like 200 people
Yeah.
plus enrolling.
Yeah.
And then you launched a program. I mean, yeah, can you give us like a little like lay of the land of Natalie just in the last 3 months of just what you have done and what has all the things?
Totally. So I always have to start it out with like this timing of you and I even working together was so profound because I was in Bali and we did our first call. I think we did our first call there. Or no, we did it when I
Yeah,
was home, but then I was in
right
Bali
before
and we
and
did a
then
call.
yeah.
Exactly. And I had just gotten out of a container where I paid so much money for the container. And it was really good on other levels, but it didn't give me like the in the weeds with me that you and I do together, which I really
Hmm.
appreciate. And I also had just had a photo shoot where I spent and lost a lot of money. And so I remember I had this moment in Bali where I was looking at my credit cards and I had $40,000 in debt. And I was like, I went to my sister who I was visiting and I started crying. I was like, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to do? And it was this moment of, I don't want to say it was a rock bottom, but it was one of those like, oh shoot, I got to do something fast type of things.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, when I got back, it was like we hit the ground running together. And I think I even sent you a text about that of like, I
Yeah.
need this. Like there was a lot of
Yeah.
urgency and also like I probably put some unnecessary pressure on you. um, which happens sometimes. But then I was like,
Totally.
it's my responsibility at the end of the day. So yes, got home. We put together the intensive that sold out. So there were about 5 people in that. And then during that, I also realized like, okay, well, you and I had talked about like, we kind of had this longer term vision
Yeah.
of this 6 month container that I would be launching, but not until the spring of 2026. And
Hmm.
so you were like, well, you need to basically do a program that's going to lead people into that. And
Hmm.
so we came up with a masterclass. The masterclass that I came up with, because I'm an astrologer, everything I do is timed with the astrology, and I know what
Yeah.
people want during that time. And so we were in Scorpio season, which is about intensity and power, and it's ruled by the planet named Pluto. And in astrology, a lot of people get like afraid of Pluto, right? Because it's like the transformation and the death and the rebirth. And so I was like, let's reframe Pluto. So we came up with a masterclass called Pluto and Wealth. And I had about 176 people total sign up for it. And it was a paid masterclass. And I think you and I had even had this conversation where you were like, are you sure you want to do paid? And I was like, I just feel like I need to do this. Like, and I kind of wanted to
Mhm.
actually prove it to myself to do a paid workshop
Mhm.
because I also wanted the people who were serious because I knew that I then would be selling a program off
Yeah,
of, right? So we have
right.
176 in, which was a nice extra, $2,000 or so for me too, or 1,800, something like that.
Yeah,
Um, and so that was kind of fun. And the masterclass went so well. One of the biggest learnings for me was realizing how much I deeply love teaching live. And then
yeah.
I, from there, sold a program called You Are the Money. So there were 98 people who were on the live call and who stayed live the entire time.
Amazing.
Out
Yeah.
of that, there were 45 who signed up. It was about a 50% conversion, which I think is kind of unheard of.
Yeah.
And so that was great. So then I have You Are the Money. You Are the Money was, I just loved doing that program. And I think one of the things that I love working about with you too is that you're really good at reflecting back to me like what I'm good at. Because as an
Hmm.
entrepreneur, you're so in your own genius, in your own tunnel, and in your own hysteria that you're like, I don't know, this feels good, this is easy, but often we're not reflecting and like, oh, this feels good and easy. I should do more of that, right?
Yeah.
Like we're just kind of doing the thing all the time. And so
Yeah.
you were really good at kind of like grounding me and being like, hey, let's actually take note of this and do something more or do something
Hmm.
less. So we have You Are the Money. During this time, also side note, from the private intensives, I also signed on to one-on-one clients. So that was great.
Hmm.
And then You Are the Money happened. I also went through a lot of personal things. I moved, was traveling. So there was still
Yeah.
life was life was happening.
Yeah.
And then You Are the Money ended. And then literally the next week, or within a matter of like 5 days, actually, I then hosted another masterclass, which was about the astrology of 2026. And 22 people signed up for that. That again was an $11 offering. And then we knew that I was going to do one more kind of like mini short program called the Social
Yeah.
Accelerator, all about astrology and social media. And the thing, and this is actually why I originally even wanted to work with you back in 2024 when I found your
Hmm.
profile, was because you were like, this is what my life looks like. I do a lot of things on autopilot and I fill launches without the pressure of them having to be this like big launch and that's your only opportunity. And so you taught me then with the last day of You Are the Money, fill people or sign people into your next program.
Yeah.
So just with my next program that now I'm filling, we already had 7 people join from You Are the Money. And then from the masterclass that I hosted 2 days ago or 3 days ago, there were 13 people who joined. So now there's a total of 22 people already in before I've even launched it to the public. So it has been insane,
Amazing.
the things that we have done together. And my social media has continually grown
So
5,000
much.
followers since you and I started working together.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's so actually fun to hear you reflect on the journey because obviously, day to day, we're just dealing with like, what's the day? Like, what are
Yeah.
we doing? What's the focus? And it's fun to just see, wow, like there's just been so much. And I also feel, just to reflect some of the things, not only obviously have you like done incredibly financially and audience growth and visibility and preceding people into programs, but I feel like one of the biggest things that I've noticed during this journey is also just getting really honest about what you really want the business to be and what you really want it to look like and
Mhm.
continuing to go deeper. And I feel like each time, one of the things that I love that we get to do is also have that conversation to slow you down enough, like slow Natalie down to really make sure like what you're building is really what you want and going back and forth to really find what you really want and really keeping you in your zone of genius. And that's what I've seen such a shift from October to now. It's like the zone of where you want to be is so clear and the answers now are even faster, and then therefore the doing is even simpler because you know where you're going and you know what you also love doing. Like I remember the big moment of I love teaching, and that's like what I love. That's my genius. And it's like, great, let's do everything around you teaching them. Like, why are we even considering doing anything else? And it's been just so fun to watch your evolution of coming into that truth for yourself.
Million percent. And I think that was such an aha moment that I remember feeling, because I would just feel so lit up after master classes and after doing my teaching calls. And I know a lot of people don't feel like that. And I was just
Yeah.
like, come on, hi, I'm good. Like, get this girl a mic, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and it was just like not even until you were like, oh, you need to do more of this, that
Yeah.
also for me too. So just having that reflection was so massive and is always so massive.
Yeah. And it is that. It's like finding, I think sometimes in business you're going at just like such a like fast pace, slow pace, whatever pace it's at, but having the beat to go, okay, what am I really building? Is it what I want? Am I building it in a way that also, works for my life and my energy levels and what
Yes.
I'm navigating, like so that you can go the long haul, I think is like such an important thing, obviously, that we've talked about. I'm curious for you to share what has it been like? I mean, I know we've talked a lot, but I'm curious for you to share just like what has it been working with me and what has been helpful for you specifically?
Well, you, like we've said this, you're like a partner in my business,
Yeah.
which I think is so great because, also if we come back to astrology, I'm a Gemini moon and Gemini is a sign of twins and it like needs help. Like it needs like an other. And
Yeah.
I think that, to be honest, like looking back, like before you and I started working together, I would always try to like get support in other ways, whether it was like a friend or maybe someone else who's an entrepreneur. But that didn't really work, to be honest, because I do know I bothered a lot of people. And like they're kind of like, okay, girl, this is too much. Or there would sometimes be people that I would try to relate to and be like, oh, let's do a
Yeah.
co-working together or whatever. But we're in such different businesses or we're at such
Yeah.
different levels with our business that
Yeah.
the human and the ego would sometimes come in of either
Hmm.
comparison or a little
Yeah.
jealousy or like, or just straight up like, I don't know how to help you. And I think that's the
Hmm.
biggest thing is trying to like outsource it. And then you get to a place where you're like, let me use my chat GPT. And that's great for a few things, but chat GPT is not a
Yeah.
business coach, right? And so
Yes.
like we got to be real with that. We love AI for certain things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that is like the number one thing is like you being a partner in it. And you are so reliable and dependable. Like I always know that whenever I have a question, you're going to be there. You're going to answer it and you're
Mhm.
going to give me like, sometimes you give me options and sometimes I'm like, I just need one thing. Tell me what to do,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, but there's always like, okay, this didn't work. Okay, well, let's do this. And I think that that's
Hmm.
something so cool is that you're so resourceful and
Hmm.
it shows that you've been an entrepreneur, for over a decade and
Hmm.
that like not just what works and what doesn't, but what works for different types of people, right? And I think that's part of your magic is seeing like, here's where you can do really well in this area, or try this thing out, or like, I don't think that's your style. And you're very real. And, I am also a very real person. I can't deal with like fluff and BS. And I love that about you, that you just give straight, you're to the point, and you're also a badass cheerleader too, So it's like all of it wrapped in one.
Yeah. That's so I love that. And I love that also because it's like I mean, as you know, I love being real, but I think it's also you have to be able to take the feedback. And that's what I always love is I'm never concerned, oh, how is Natalie going to feel? It's just like, okay, you want this? You want that result? We want this page to convert better. Great. Here's all the things we
Yeah.
change. Like, here's the messaging shifts. And, I feel like that was something I actually remember from the beginning. And you were like, when we were talking about messaging and how to message, you were like, how are you putting these together in this way? And it's, I think about it as like, it's as we come more into ourselves and really understand what we want, it's like everything becomes more and more clear. And that's what I love also with you is you let me contribute to you and you're so open and you're so available. And I love that you'll throw all the ideas out and then also I'll be like, okay, holding that, I know we want that. And like, what's our thing, Natalie? What's the thing to focus? And I think we all need that honestly in business because business is such a creative process that you do need the ability for someone outside of you to hold your vision and then really be able to know what do you need right now to get there while still letting your creativity fly.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. And on that note of messaging too, I think that's actually one of the biggest things that you helped me with was like really distilling my messaging and really learning how to do storytelling because I think, you know, as an astrologer, I think I've even pigeonholed myself a little bit of like, oh, I'm just talking about astrology and I didn't know how to share things. And also I think there's a level of vulnerability and ownership that you have to have as an entrepreneur of like,
Yeah.
here's how much money I made, or here's how I failed, or here's what I would do again. And you're kind of constantly exposing yourself basically as an entrepreneur. And it's like you have to be okay with that. And I love
Yeah.
that you kind of just have shown and rolled out this pathway of like, here's how you do it, also with grace, with elegance, and with heart.
Thanks, Natalie. It's so
Yeah.
sweet. It's
Yeah.
so sweet. And yeah, it's a fun, it is all of it. I think so often sometimes we want the result and think, oh, I'm not going to have to like open myself up. And it's like people want to feel people. And what I always love is you are so good at so much in business. And I feel a lot of it has been obviously like making the plans and the strategies and reflection and clarity, but also it's like again, I just keep feeling this for you. It's like keeping you in your lane so that you can just shine and just have seen such a evolution for you just in the whole journey of from in depths of talking about programs to working with your energy management. And I feel like being able to have conversations around all of it is also what makes it so special because, I remember actually speaking of when you were the 40K and you were like, Christy, I want to pay this off. I was like, okay, let's do it. Like, you can do it. I wouldn't say that to everyone, but like, we could do it fast. For you, you can. I was like, not every, I will be so straight. I'm like, yeah, no, you don't have the audience right now. Or I don't think like, and I think that's the thing is being able to be real and set things up in a way that is real. And I do feel like that was such a propeller for you to be like, oh my God, I can do this. And that's what I love about business is you're constantly watching people come into their potential in
Mhm.
ways that they never even knew that they could. And it really is that portal into yourself in like the deepest ways. And I've seen that in you just so much of like come more and more and more and more into your ownership. And the one thing I really want to reflect is not from an egoic perspective, but from a real like embodied truth of, hey, I just walked this. I know I can do the next. I know I can do the next. And that's what I've really seen is it's like a very graceful way of owning actually what you can do.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that there's probably a time on everyone's journey, especially in entrepreneurship, where you have a lot of ego deaths.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that I'd say 4 years ago I had huge ego deaths, and it was before I got to the level of followers and visibility and people trusting me with their businesses or with their whatever it is that we're working on in their transformation, that I did get to a point, 4 years ago where I was like, I'm ready for this. And I actually hired, I don't know if I've told you the story actually, but I hired a PR agency in 2021 because I
I
was
know.
fixated on honestly like being famous. And like, I really was like, I need to be on TV. I'm supposed to be in magazines. I'm supposed to be this. And I was totally looking at success and fulfillment through the wrong lens. Like I was getting, the what is the what did they call it? It's like the it'll come to me in a minute. I forget what it's called. But vanity metrics. Like I was looking at it through
Yeah.
vanity metrics, right? And I remember that I signed up with this agency. It was $6,000 a month. And it was pretty crazy, but I had just made a ton of money and I was like, I can do it. And then I got adrenal fatigue. And it felt like the universe was like, no, like you are not
Mm-hmm.
supposed to do this right now. And then I basically had like a breakup with that version of my business because I realized that the way that I was doing business wasn't lighting me up. It was actually draining me. I was so exhausted every single day. And then to even pause or quit with that PR agency, I had to pay another $6,000. and just to, end the contract. And so it was a huge slap in the face slash wake up call slash
Yeah.
ego death from the universe that was like,
Yeah.
you are not ready yet. And I
Yeah.
think it was like this deep surrender moment that I had to really take that. And so from there, anything now that happens in my business, I'm like, wow, thank you so much. This is amazing. And like, it's very humbling because we can't let our egos just like drive us, or else you will get sat down
Yeah.
by the universe. Keep
Totally.
it in check. Yeah.
Totally, totally. And I think that like that's beautiful to hear also how much it's led you to like leading with intentionality
Yeah.
and really leading with like what truth is. And that's one of the things I have loved also so much about working with you is again, it's like you're so receptive. Like I don't feel, sometimes when you work with people, you're like, okay, they're sensitive about this, but we have to maneuver around here. And with you, I can be like, okay, like Natalie, this, or, whatever it is, it's like you're so receptive and also staying really grounded in what you want your path, like holding what's possible for yourself, but also doing it in a way. I remember when we were talking about like, oh, I need a break and I need like space and I need time and I need to like honor my energy, and all those facets are so important in business to listen to what you really want and also to be grateful for what I always say that all the time, it's like it's a gift to be a business owner. It is like a true honor, and to be paid to do what you love is
Yes,
such a privilege.
it is.
And it's something I hold really dear is like it's such a privilege. How could I not be grateful for this experience? And it's such a privilege.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, I would love you if there's anything else you want to share just about our work together, what's been help, anything that else is there for you. I'm, yeah, super open.
Yeah. I mean, I just wouldn't be where I am without you. That's like the total truth, matter of fact, is
Mm,
that um I just feel like I have so much faith in you, and you have helped me to have that complete crystal clear roadmap of where we're going and how to do it. And just feeling like so confident in myself, and feeling so confident in like, here's the strategy. And also, if that didn't work, here's the other strategy that we're going to do. Um, and I think that, you talk a lot about like capacity in your work and how that's one of the ways that you are so different than other business coaches. And it's really true because, when we were at that point, when I was just launching, some of the programs and doing the master classes, I think, maybe fighting some levels of burnout, but didn't realize it. But actually, it was a lot of like health issues where I wasn't like moving my body enough. I wasn't doing the self-care, and I wasn't like really dropping in. And so the fact that you literally were born from a place
yeah.
like your mom, um,
Yeah.
but of embodiment work, like you've
Hmm.
also shown me like, hey, this is what's possible. Like, here's what it can look like. You just have
Hmm.
to do that work too. Like that work of your own capacity is just as, if not more important than any of the strategy, any
Yeah.
of the, workshops or templates or videos that you're going to watch, or our calls, because like, yes, you can get to this place and make all this money, but can you actually hold it? Right. And that, I think, and I did a trial of your mom's things and
Yeah.
I loved it. And that also helped me. And then I started being like, I'm getting back into my consistent walking and nothing ever now.
Yeah.
I don't miss a day. And these little pieces that you help to remind me of, like, it's so much more than just business. It's like
Hmm.
lifestyle, like how you really build a life around this, and
Hmm.
um, being able to do this so that it lasts for good.
Yeah. It's amazing. I know. I remember so vividly when you were like, okay, how do you work with these energy? And I'm like, okay, well, I have a whole other hat I can throw on for
Yeah.
you, Natalie. I was like, let me whip that one out, the somatic capacity hat. And it's so true because it's, I think so much of the time, in business, like everyone craves the next level of evolution for their business, but a lot of people don't think about whatever we are going for creating externally. It's like we have to create the internal capacity, or we get the signals from life or our energy of what that is. And I remember when you when you really started grounding into, okay, how do I need to somatically expand? How do I need to actually also even just receive my own success? Like
Right.
you were just having success after success, which is amazing. And I remember so many times I'd be like, do you want to do another thing? Now I was like, Natalie, you sure? Like,
Yeah.
and you're like, I got it. I feel really good. And I feel like part of what's even made this year so seamless for you is in December really working with like receive your success, like take
Mhm.
in the magnitude. And that also pushed you to also hold higher standards of who you want to work with and what you want to do and where your time is going. And I feel like that's what it does is it helps you actually see, I actually have more of a standard of what I desire, which is has been amazing to watch. I mean, from where you've been November to now, the level of groundedness and clarity and also just like peace I feel from you has been just incredible.
Completely. Like the peace that I feel within myself and like the readiness for other things. Because, when we started working together, I had just moved back to be at my parents' house because I was sick. And, it's like I had actually taken off like 2 months of not really, doing anything or launching. I had one program that I would, coach in every single week. But I was in a place of like coming back to life. And so for us
Yeah.
to do things and then for me to go fast while being held by you, but then you also saying like, here's how, you weren't telling me what to eat and stuff, but like
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
to like actually like hold all of this in your energetic,
Yeah.
your nervous system. Like that is why I've been able to have the success. And I feel so stable, like more stable in every way, finances, mental health, physical health, like than I honestly ever have in my life. So I, thank you for being such a huge
Yeah.
piece of that. And, we're just continually going. And
Yeah.
yeah, it just feels like I finally have a plan. And it's not like, oh, there's an end in sight, but it's like, I know what we're doing and we're going at a really good speed. It's
Yeah.
fast because I like to go
Yeah.
fast, but
Yeah.
it's also very doable for what I do.
Totally. Totally. And I want to acknowledge it's fast and also planned like, like your launches around your sister's wedding and like, it's fast and it's also set for your life. And I always say like that in businesses, there's seasons and some people love like faster seasons and slower seasons and faster and it's finding that rhythm. And yeah, you've done just absolutely amazing. And it's just such a privilege and so fun to work with you. I always love just, I'm like, what am I going to get from Natalie today? What's Natalie going to throw at? And it's so fun to be like, yeah, this. And, it's just like, I see also so much myself in you, honestly, of like that, like constant creativity and joy for what you do.
Yeah,
And, the value, I mean, well, that's why I have mentorship, the value of someone outside of you to be like, okay, yes, and what do we do now? Like, what is the
totally.
step now? And that is like
Yeah.
so important to have, I think, to not let your creativity die in any way, but have someone who can hold you to what you need for the business and for the real life vision that you're going for is just everything.
Completely. And, it's like most of us entrepreneurs, we're either highly creative, we're a little ADD,
Yeah.
we're a little bit like
Yes.
this and this and this and this, and I think, yeah, to have someone who can just be like, stay in the lane and we can still do this.
Yeah.
Yes, ideas, but also like, do you want more views and followers or do you want money? Do
Yeah.
you want to feel grounded or do you want to feel a little excited and strung out? We got to be real about those things. And yeah, you've absolutely helped
Yeah.
me to come into knowing that
Mm.
and being in my authority and yes, knowing what I want and also what I stand for and what I don't.
Yeah, totally. And that's everything. That's
Yes,
like fulfillment in a nutshell and like alignment. It's
totally.
amazing. Well, thank you so much, Natalie, for just like sharing your heart and your presence and your wisdom. I so appreciate, and I'm like, wait till where we are in 6 months. Wait till you
Oh
are in a
my
year. I'm
gosh.
like, oh my gosh, 3 months. Wow, just wait, just
It's
wait.
wild. Yeah, it's wild.
It's amazing. I'm so excited. And I'm so excited to just like see the next evolution of everything continue to get birthed. And yeah, I also just want to say for anyone listening, Natalie's amazing with how she puts together astrology and uses the subconscious and like she's amazing at what she does. She weaves it all together in a way. I've worked with a lot of people. I've worked with people in astrology and business, and the way you weave it together is so fun and really is your own unique blueprint of how you've woven it together, and it really is your genius. So
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Natalie, for being here. And yeah, just a pleasure to have you.
Absolutely. So grateful.